All right, everybody, welcome back into the Doop podcast. I'm Zero, the first one of the season. Going to kind of offer some off-season thoughts here too. I haven't done one of these in a while, even though there was like a few times I was going to. I've just been so angry, so frustrated, and so apathetic about this franchise for a little while right now, and with good reason. And I think a lot of fans share my frustration as well, especially with the ownership. I've talked about the ownership in previous podcasts, but their Union are kind of entering a new era here with a new head coach, some new players. Not really sure what to expect here. I've gone into the past couple seasons with good optimism, expecting the team to be doing pretty well, competitive. This season, I don't really have that feeling. I just have a feeling of dread and, oh gosh, like how bad are we going to be? Is this going to be as bad as we used to be when we first entered the league, you know? A franchise with a history that doesn't have, great success. So it's... Hang on, let me fix something right there. There we go. It's just... I don't know. It was a bit of apathy, I guess you could say. But let's talk about, first of all, Bradley Carnell going into his first season as head coach of the Union after a long tenure from Jim Curtin, who was wrongfully fired, mind you. I am not over that. I haven't talked about that yet on a podcast, but Jim Curtin deserved better. He deserved better, guys. This ownership threw him under the bus because he questioned them. They screwed him over last season. Yeah, we didn't make the playoffs. We almost did, despite how bad our season was last year, despite all the things that went wrong, the injuries, the players we sold. We still were like a game away from making the playoffs. Jim Curtin pretty much worked a miracle to get that team even near a playoff spot. Got my coffee here. You think about Andre Blake, our best player, missed like 80% of the season in goal. And then on top of that, we had other guys injured, in and out. But the real kicker is the players that we sold during this playoff run, this playoff attempt. We sold our best striker in Julian Carranza. We got rid of one of our best defenders, Damian Lowe, who serviced really well in there. And we got rid of our best midfielder, Jose Martinez, who was like a huge, huge part of the way we play and how we identify ourselves. Just gone during this playoff battle. The ownership was just like, see you later, bye. We want this money. And it's just devastating. And they brought in nothing good to replace anybody. This has been a cheap franchise for a long time, and they keep it going here. So yeah, they didn't make the playoffs. Expected. I wasn't even expecting them to at that point, with all that they lost. And then here comes the off season. They get rid of a few bench players. Matt Real's gone, Adeniran's gone, and others. But the big off-season losses now are Jack Elliott and Jack McGlynn. Both Jacks just gone. Jack Elliott, who is one of the most consistent defenders in MLS. He was probably our best defender in a season of horrible defense last season. Just gone. And a fan favorite, mind you. Jack McGlynn, another youth player sold away. He goes to Houston Dynamo, probably for less than we could have got him if we sold him to Europe. That's such a weird move. I think it's only because maybe he doesn't fit the system, but you try to build a system around Jack McGlynn. He's one of the most bright young players in the league, and we got rid of him for what? And the kicker is this ownership claims, oh, we're going to build with youth. No, you're not. That's a bunch of shit. You're only building up your youth a little bit so you can sell them. Look what they've done. Brendan Aronson, Paxton Aronson, Austin Trusty, all been gone. Who else? Kevin Sullivan's already been sold. As soon as he turns 18, he's gone. Jack McGlynn, he's gone. Who's next? They don't build with youth. The second their youth becomes good, they want to try to ship them out for money. Don't give me that. Oh, we're going to build with youth. Yeah, right. If you're a fan and you buy into their shit, then I just feel sorry for you. This ownership. I don't believe a word they say anymore. I think I speak for a lot of Union fans when we want this team sold to better ownership that actually cares about the product on the field. Actually wants to win and wants to get trophies and wants to care about a franchise that competes every season for trophies. Not this ownership. And Bradley Carnell comes in. I kind of feel bad for Bradley Carnell. I mean, I'm angry about Jim Curtin. I feel like Jim Curtin should still be here, but maybe he got out and he might be lucky because Bradley Carnell is going to come in with a franchise that's not going to get him a lot of help. He's pretty much, they just wanted to hire a yes man. They knew Jim Curtin wasn't going to be that anymore, so they fired him. They brought in Bradley Carnell, who's going to be yes man. He's going to say yes to everything the ownership says. Oh, we want you to do this. We want you to do that. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then it's just going to be like, he's going to be their puppet, basically. I'm kind of intrigued by the way the team could play. We're going to be a completely different style. I got to admit, under Jim Curtin, there were times where I wish we were a little bit more gung-ho or a little bit more possession-based. With Bradley Carnell, though, we're going to be a high-paced pressing team, trying to get in the faces of the other team. But can we keep that up for 90 minutes? No team can. So I don't know how our possession's going to be. I don't know how our offense is going to be. You know, we're going to be struggling this season for goals, I think, from what it looks like. So I'm not very optimistic about it. You know, Bradley Carnell is going to come in a really tough job, tough city, a franchise with fans that are already on edge. You know, fans threatening not to go to games, and just, I mean, that's what we need. If you want big change, just don't go to the games. Empty that stadium. The ownership will see that they have to do something drastic. But people keep going because casual fans keep going to the games, and then, you know, we also need the Sons of Ben to freaking step up and demand better. Not just go to a town hall meeting and listen to them and say a few things, like, or hold up a sign here and there. Like, actually don't show up to the games. Threaten to not go to home games until the ownership's sold or they spend like a ton of money on like quality players. There's one thing to spend money, there's another thing to spend money on quality players, you know. You can't just, and speaking of, that leads me to my next point here in the off season. The ownership did spend a little bit of money for once, but it wasn't on top quality players. So the Union have signed striker Bruno Damiani for a club record deal, which, mind you, a club record deal here for the Union is an average signing for most every other MLS team every transfer window. Yeah, I'm not even exaggerating. That's how cheap they are. This record club signing is an average signing price for most teams. Not even close to being record deals for other clubs. But so Bruno Damiani comes in. Honestly, I don't know much about this guy. I looked at his stats. He hasn't really played a lot of senior games in his career yet. He scored some goals, but a lot of them were from penalty spot. He doesn't have a lot of goals from open play. He's been loaned out already. I mean, they're spending a lot of money taking a chance on a striker who really hasn't proven himself anywhere. That's the big signing. Is that. It's not some proven player who is going to come in and certainly make an impact. It's just some younger player. I think he's like 22 or 23 or something like that. So they, they're still, obviously you want to keep it young anyways. With some of these DP signings or whatever, if he even is a DP, I assume he is. But that's the big off-season signing, is a guy that you haven't heard of, who hasn't really done much in his career yet. Now let's not write him off yet, I mean, maybe he'll come in and he'll score a lot of goals. Maybe he'll come in and help transform this offense. He'll fit right into the brand of soccer that they want to play under Bradley Carnell. I don't know. I got to see him play, We know Mikel Ua has been hot and cold since he's joined the club. But he has scored a decent amount of goals, I would say. But you still want more out of him. Ty Baribo is our main striker right now. If anybody's deserving of the money, it's Ty Baribo. Pay him. Guy went off last season when he came in after Julian Carranza was sold. Started playing and scoring goals almost every game. The guy was unbelievable. Game tying goals, game winning goals. 2-goal games. Ty Baribo couldn't be stopped. I'm excited for a full season of Ty Baribo now. Not only was he scoring, but it was his work ethic off the ball, his attitude. Ty Baribo didn't give up. He wanted to score goals. He wanted to prove that he belonged on the field, which he certainly did. He certainly does. The passion that Ty Baribo plays with. I love it. Love it. He's a fan favorite now with good reason. He's our main striker, not Bruno Damiani, not Mikel Ua. It's Ty Baribo. Build around him. Damiani better not be taking away playing time from Baribo. More so probably Ua. Maybe this will light a fire under Mikel Ua a little bit. Like, oh no, they got a new striker. If I don't start producing consistently, I might not be starting every game. So maybe it's a good signing. We needed another forward because we don't really have much on the bench for forwards that are going to produce anyways. We have a lot of kids on the team, a lot of youngsters, and not a lot of veteran leadership right now outside of Bedoya and Blake and Kai Wagner. I mean, we complain about them not spending money. They finally spent a little bit of money. But I don't know if it's on the quality player, He's not the big home run signing that you see from other clubs. So I don't know. We've also signed a couple homegrown players. And we acquired Indiana Vasilev just the other day. And that's just another kind of cheap pickup. I don't know. They were trying to add some kind of depth, I guess. And we have Ian Glavinovich, who is the Aloni defender. I don't know how much he's going to play either. That's another new pickup that we have. Remember, he's just a loan, so we loaned him in for like a season. I doubt, if he does well, maybe they'll keep him, try to sign him. But is that our Jack Elliott replacement? Or is it Neil Pierre, the youngster, the homegrown defender? We don't really have a Jack Elliott replacement. Who's going to play next to Glesnes this season? I don't even know. I'm very intrigued to see what the starting lineup's going to be for our first game later today. Is it going to be Glavinovich? Is it going to be Makiana? Is it going to be Neil Pierre? We don't know who's going to be next to Glesnes. And Glesnes was coming off of a pretty poor season, too, mind you. Jack Elliott's the defender we should have kept. I mean, Jacob Glesnes, I love him, all right? He's been with this franchise for years, and he's given us some iconic moments, yes. But he's definitely on the downhill right now. Ever since he had that major injury, he just hasn't been the same. He looks slow. I would love to see him get back to his old self, his Defender of the Year self. That's what we need for this team to be competitive. We need him to be that level. I just don't know that he can anymore. And it's just unfortunate, because you root for the guy and you want him to do well, but he just had so many horrible moments last season. As did a lot of defense, to be fair, and the goalkeepers. But, he showed little flashes here and there of his old self. But if he can go into this season and play like he did the Defender of the Year season, we might have something there on defense again, especially if Blake stays healthy and Kai Wagner and everybody's there. We also picked up the midfielder Jovan Lukic. Again, a guy I know pretty much nothing about. He's kind of coming in. I don't even know where he's going to play in the midfield, more in the center. It's not really a Jack McGlynn replacement. Maybe he's going to split time with Danley Jean-Jacques. I don't know. Again, we got to see. I haven't seen any of their preseason games. Again, I've just been kind of apathetic about this franchise over the past couple months. But I'm trying to get a little bit optimistic about this season. I just don't know. Maybe they'll be good. Maybe they'll surprise us and the Union will press and they'll be exciting. They'll score goals and they'll finish decent in the table, get a playoff spot, and who knows? I'm not expecting that, but you never know. I'm going in expecting the worst, really. But I honestly, the way the team's built and everything, we're going to have to win games with low scores, 1-0, 2-1, something like that. We're not going to run by teams 4-3 anymore, and score all these goals. I don't think it's just a different system. I don't think that's going to work right now. I think our offense is not going to score as many goals as we've been scoring the last several seasons under Jim Curtin. We got our first game later today against Orlando City. Now, they're a bogey team for us. We always seem to lose against Orlando, especially in their house. They always give us trouble for whatever reason. I'm always annoyed when we play Orlando. And that's who we're opening up against in their house. They're going to be fired up. They were a team that did really good last season, are trying to build up a good winning franchise. I'm not expecting any miracles today, honestly. If we go in there and get a draw, I'll be ecstatic. But we'll see. Maybe the team will come out fired up under Bradley Carnell, first game. They'll want to prove something to the fans, to the coaches. I don't know. We gotta see. I'm excited for Quinn Sullivan, who was fantastic last season. He's back in there. And his brother Kevin, who should get more playing time this season. Excited to see what he can bring. The now 15-year-old. So it's Orlando. And then I believe we have Cincinnati. Let me check the schedule right now. I think it's Orlando. On the road. And then home against Cincinnati. It's a tough 2 games to open up with. Then we go on the road again to play New England, who have a lot of new players. Interesting game there. Before a couple more home games against Nashville and St. Louis. So, not the toughest schedule to begin the season. There's some winnable games in there. You look like you get something out of this Orlando game, the home opener against Cincinnati, We know Cincinnati's going to be good, but no more Lucho Acosta for them. We might be fired up for the home opener. On the road against New England, you could get something out of that. Then home against Nashville and St. Louis, very winnable games. Before we go on the road to take on Inter Miami, who we know could cream us there. But opening couple games, the Union get off to a good start. Maybe build some confidence. You never know, right? You never know. Let's see. Let's have some... I'm going to try to have some optimism, guys. I'm not feeling it, honestly. I'm not as fired up going into this season as I usually am. Usually I'm like really excited for game day. But today, as the season opens, I'm just kind of like, let's just see what happens kind of thing, you know? Maybe they'll surprise me. I hope they do. But I'm not expecting it. I'm still going to watch the games, win or lose. I was doing it last season. I've done it throughout this team's existence. So many bad games, so many bad seasons, so many bad players. We're used to the losing here in the Philadelphia Union. But it won't hurt as much right now, I think, because the Eagles just won the Super Bowl. So Philadelphia is feeling good right now. As a Philly sports fan, you know, the fact that the Flyers and the Sixers are terrible, it doesn't really hurt right now. You know, it's like the Eagles just won the freaking Super Bowl. The Union could be horrible, but it's like, all right, but the Eagles are Super Bowl champions again. So it doesn't hurt as much. If the Eagles lost that Super Bowl, man, Philly would be very depressed right now with the way the other teams are. Phillies we're definitely optimistic about, but they should have a good season. I'm actually excited for baseball season more than soccer season, which is weird because I'm a huge soccer fan. I guess I'm excited about the team's prospect more than anything. I'll be watching more soccer than baseball. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, it's a season that could be a long one for us fans. But let's be a little bit optimistic. Let's run through the roster real quick. Well, not real quick, but we'll run through who the Union have on the team. Marcus Anderson, forward, who we know really, really struggled when he played last season. He's a youngster. Yeah, I don't expect him to get much playing time. We got Ty Baribo. There's the man right there. Ty Baribo we talked about. Alejandro Bedoya, still on the roster. Much to a lot of fans, much to their dismay. For me, I love it. Bedoya played till the legs fall off, dude. I love the captain. He's my favorite. These fans need to show him better respect. How he's going to fit into this high-press system, I have no idea. But he just scored a goal in their last preseason game, so he's still bringing it. Plus, we need somebody on the bench to, like, babysit these kids and freaking, like, bring some leadership into the locker room, you know? We need that. We need him. That's what we need him for. He's not going to play as much as he did last season because they have more midfielders now. So people will be like, oh, why is Bedoya playing? He's still one of the most productive guys on the field. Soundly doesn't give the ball away. Gets assists, scores a couple goals here and there. I don't know, some fans, I just don't understand what they're watching. It's like they see him go on the field and they think he's doing horrible. I'm like, you realize he's like connecting like 95, 98% of his passes. He's not giving it away. When other players are like constantly like giving the ball away, forcing things. At least Bedoya keeps possession, jeez. He's a smart player. He knows how to read the game. Give him the credit. The guy's been our captain for seasons and seasons, you know. I'm with you, Bedoya. Don't worry, I'm with you, Bedoya. I'm riding your career here to the end. Andre Blake. Of course, the best player in the team, our goalie, Andre Blake. I mean, what can I even say about him? He is just one of the best goalkeepers in MLS history. If he stays healthy, that might be enough to get us into the playoffs. Honestly, he's that good. He will steal points for you. He will win games for you. If this guy's healthy, we could be a playoff team just because of him. That's how important Andre Blake is. Jesus Bueno, a guy who kind of started showing some signs of quality. He's more of a depth piece right now. He might get some starts. Jesus Bueno, decent player. Plays with a bit of fire too. So he's still here. And Bruno Damiani, of course, the aforementioned striker, record club signing. We'll see. With that money we're paying him, with the expectations now, he's got to come in and score goals. Like, if this guy struggles, this is going to make the ownership look even more like clowns. If they sign this guy to a record deal and he comes in and is a dud. So, but we got to see how he plays. Let's go, Bruno. Eddie Davis III, there's a homegrown player, striker. Don't expect him to play much. But yeah, there's another just player with no experience. Chris Donovan, who's still on the team. Now, Chris Donovan's interesting because he hasn't been producing goals as a forward, and his play time kind of fell off. But I think his style could really suit this new system, the in-your-face pressing, because he's got a lot of speed. I think he'll be pretty serviceable this season, Chris Donovan. I don't know if he's still. I still don't think he's going to score many goals, but he might give that energy that we need for this system. So there's that. Daniel Gazdag, of course, our main playmaker. Well, not really our playmaker. I guess Kai is more of a playmaker because he gets all the assists. But Gazdag, the guy who scores the most goals in Union history. We expect another great season from him. But who's going to take the penalties, him or Bruno Damiani? We got to go with Gazdag because Gazdag just doesn't miss in the regular season. Really. And there's Gazdag. Still got him. How much longer do we keep him, though, before he wants to leave, you know? Ian Glavinovic, of course, the other new center back we have. Jacob Glesnes still on the team. We have Nathan Harriel as well, still there. He'll be pretty much battling with Bizo again for that right back position. Danley Jean-Jacques is back for now a full season with the Union. Wasn't overly impressed with him, to be honest, Danley Jean-Jacques. Danley Jean-Jacques, I believe is actually the correct pronunciation. He brings some energy, but, you know, I don't want to compare him to Jose Martinez too much because nobody can replace Jose Martinez. And Danley brings some quality things too. We'll see how he does this season. I expect him to get a lot of minutes though. We need him to be very solid this season. Isaiah Lafleur is another youngster defender. Jovan Lukic, who we mentioned, is another new pickup. Midfielder, don't know what their plans are with him. So obviously Lafleur doesn't have experience. Owethu Makiana, I'm sure I pretty much butchered his name. I apologize to him. He is another center back that could see some starts this season. He's another just youngster, homegrown player, I believe, or a Union 2 player who's on the first team now, inexperienced on senior team. It's just there's a lot of inexperience on this roster. Olivier Bizo still here. Sal Olivas, another new homegrown signing, forward. Don't expect him to play much either. But it's like, that's just another bench piece that has no experience. CJ Oni, midfielder, another guy with little to no experience on the senior team. He briefly came in a game or two, I think, last season. But with another kid. Nick Pariano. I keep going down the roster. There's another young homegrown Union 2 player. Another guy, he might have played, has he even played in a senior Union game yet? I don't even know. I don't remember him coming in ever. Maybe he played one. But he's on the roster now. Neil Pierre, another homegrown defender. It seems like every player now on the roster is a youngster with no experience in MLS. Neil Pierre could get some starts, though, in center back, depending on the carousel that there might be back there for that position. They have high hopes for him, the franchise, Neil Pierre. Yeah, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they have high hopes to make money off of him. Because the second he starts being good, I'm sure he's going to be sold somewhere. And that might be cynical, but it's the truth. Until this franchise shows me otherwise. Anytime a player gets good right now, let's get rid of him. Let's sell him. Next player, not to be confused with Neil Pierre, it's Nelson Pierre. I honestly don't know if these two are related. I assume they are. Maybe his brother is a forward. Another player with no experience in MLS. Another youngster. But hey, maybe under Bradley Carnell, a lot of these youngsters will get some time. And Jim Curtin did a fair job of playing a lot of youngsters too. Jeremy Raffanello, who does have some experience and looked decent last season. Jeremy Raffanello, who's 20... He's a little bit older now, 24, 25 or something. But there's Raffanello, he's still on the team. And then we have Andrew Rick, the young goalie, who looks like a keeper. Pun intended. He's one for the future, for sure. I think he could be our Andre Blake replacement. I don't want to speak too soon, but he showed signs of real maturity as an 18-year-old goalie. I mean, this kid's got a bright future if he keeps it going. I really like his ability. He made some world-class saves last season in some games. Some growing pains too, but I like this kid a lot. I think when Andre Blake's done, I think we should just try to hold on to Andrew Rick, because we let Matt Freese go, because he wasn't going to get playing time over Blake, and he was a really good young keeper. And now look at Matt Freese goes to New York City FC, and he's thriving. He's one of the best goalies in the league right now, Matt Freese. Yeah, it's nice to see. I hate NYCFC with a passion, but I'll root for Matt Freese. I think he's a quality keeper, and I appreciate what he did with this club, filling in for Blake the times he did. I think he's a really solid keeper, and he's showing it now. I'm glad he gets to show what he can do. It's just a shame, we had him as our backup, and he could have been our future goalie, but obviously we still got Blake, and we're keeping Blake till he's retiring, I hope. Oliver Zemla, who was just... he did not play well last season. A couple games here and there he was good, but man, he had some real bad mistakes, and yeah, I don't think he should be the backup. I think it should be Andrew Rick. So I don't know. Let's just hope that Blake doesn't get injured. That's all. Let's hope Blake stays healthy. Calvin Sullivan, of course, the young starlet who is catching all the headlines. Already been sold to Man City when he's 18. 15 now. Played a few games last season. Showed some glimpses of what he has to offer. Is he going to get more playing time this season? We all hope that he can really show his skill set. He's only 15. Let's just keep it realistic here. He just turned 15 years old. It's crazy to think that he's looked at as this, we're going to put this much pressure on him yet, that just let him grow, let him figure out his game in MLS, and then he's got to prepare himself for the Premier League, which is crazy. His older brother, Quinn Sullivan, who again, coming off of an incredible season, his best season of his career so far, his young career. Quinn Sullivan just starting to grow into his own, hasn't even hit near his prime yet. But I loved what I saw from Quinn Sullivan this past season. He was arguably our best field player last season. He was our best attacker, I think, outside of maybe Ty Baribo. He was consistently good, running at defenders, getting by defenders, putting teams under pressure, scoring goals, assisting goals. He was hell of a fun player to watch. And I'm actually looking forward to watching Quinn Sullivan play for another season. He's worth price of admission. I think the league's starting to pay attention to him more. He's an exciting player to watch. I gotta admit, Quinn Sullivan he's developed into this quality player. And Jim Curtin, give him a lot of credit. He gave the reins to Quinn Sullivan. He gave him that confidence starting him. He saw something in him that we were all starting to see, and he just let him loose. And look what it did. I hope Bradley Carnell keeps the momentum going with that. Please don't be putting this kid on the sidelines. Keep him in these games. Start him. He's quality. Quinn Sullivan deserves to be out there. Mikael Ua, of course, we spoke about, the striker who needs to be more consistent. Indiana Vasilev, another guy we briefly mentioned, is a new pickup. Again, he's more of just a depth piece. I don't expect him to start much. I hope not. I don't think he's really a player you want starting every game. But maybe off the bench here and there, he'll be serviceable. I mean, he plays hard. I've seen him play for Miami, for St. Louis. He has a great name, Indiana Vasilev. David Vasquez, another just no experience, homegrown midfielder that they have high expectations for. Kai Wagner, of course, Kai's been with us for years. One of the best left backs in MLS. One of the best services in MLS with that left foot. He really makes the team tick. Kai is such an important part of this team that I think some people just take him for granted, that we really shouldn't. This guy is consistently good on both ends of the ball, usually defense and especially going forward. He's our best weapon. This guy pretty much leads our team in assists every season as a left back. No other team in the league has a side back leading their team in assists. It's always the attacking mid or something, or attacker. This is our left back, for crying out loud. Guy's consistently getting double-digit assists just because his service is so good. Off set pieces, off open play. The guy has a magical left foot. Let's just appreciate that. So, a lot of our goals are uncoincidentally going to be running through Kai Wagner. Who else we have? Frankie Westfield. Guess what, guys? That's another homegrown with no MLS experience. He is a backup defender, right back, left back, whatever you want. I've seen him play for the Union too. He actually looks pretty decent. I don't know if he's ready for MLS yet, but they signed him. We have all these homegrown players, and that's it. That's the roster right there. All those players we just ran through. So, not a lot of depth, because a lot of it is just inexperience. I'm just looking at inexperience everywhere we look. A few veterans to lean on, and a few youngsters that could have. We need another one of these youngsters to have a breakout season, honestly. But I don't know who it will be because they're all inexperienced. We need these new signings to pan out, especially the Damiani one. It has to. But we'll see. We'll see with this team. Again, not going to be gung-ho, expecting the best, but I'm also not going to be super cynical and say, oh, this team's going to be horrible. I just, it's kind of like just wait and see what happens with Bradley Carnell in this franchise. I still hate the ownership. I'm pissed off at Ernst Tanner. I'm pissed off at Jay Sugarman. You guys need to do better. And you guys did Jim Curtin dirty. And Jack Elliott. Jack Elliott, too, by the way, I believe he was sold or traded because he wanted more money. And the franchise didn't want to pay him, of course. So they traded him to Chicago. Why would you not pay Jack Elliott? He's been one of our most consistent players for seasons. That's another thing that just pisses me off. I could just do a whole podcast on how much his ownership pisses me off more. Goodness me. But yeah, that's the reason why I just haven't done a podcast in a while. I've just been too angry and then apathetic. It went from anger to apathy, back to anger. Now it's kind of lingering between both of those at the moment. But we'll see how many podcasts I end up doing this season. If the team's good, most likely there'll be more podcasts. But if the team's horrible, I probably won't feel motivated to do them. Because I won't have anything nice to say. But we'll monitor the players and see how they're doing. Regardless of how good the team does this season, let's see how some of these youngsters play. Let's root for guys like Bedoya, Baribo, Blake, Wagner, Glesnes, and Gosdog to have good seasons. These guys that have been here and deserve better for sure from the ownership as well. But that's going to do it. Union playing Orlando City in a couple of hours. I will be watching that and seeing how it goes. I appreciate you guys listening as always on YouTube. Thank you. And MLS is back. Galaxy defending champions. The Union are nowhere near that level, but we'll see how they play. But take care, everybody. Thanks again for the support on the channel in any form or fashion. You all be safe out there. Let's go, Union. Until next time, 0 is the number.